just once, not just twice, but quite a few times, calling out Ryung, just saying, hey, thank you so much for giving me the builds and the mindset and what have you. We saw it multiple times in the season finals, which Maru ended up actually taking.
It became the Korean equivalent of shout out to Seoul.
Yeah, pretty much.
But he probably meant it.
No, that's the thing. And hey, they mean it when they talk about Seoul as well.
Of course they do.
It started somewhere. But yeah, it's really cool for me seeing Ryung back again. Because for me, I'll always remember the Slayer's Ryung days, you know? When he was like the TVT sniper, so damn good at it. He came along to M1G, roasting all those drones. But it's got to be said, the last few years have been a little bit quiet around this man. So hearing good words from Maru about this, and then seeing how well he's been playing today, he was one map away from being in Beyond.
Yep, I did watch him play earlier today. Probe versus Ryung was not on the mainstream, but it's a series that I was able to cover pretty well over at the desk. And Ryung lost his second map, which was on Hardwire actually. Not because he was playing bad, he was just kind of caught off guard by a couple of DTs. It turned into a base trading game, it was an exciting game, and it didn't look all that bad until a bunch of DTs collapsed on his tanks, and then suddenly he had no answer for the Colossus and Disruptors anymore. The two games he won against Probe though, and I gotta say kudos to Probe as well. I know it seems like we're having one soccer party here, but Probe showed up today. He really played some good and competitive games, and that made me happy. But the games that went in Ryung's way, or Ryung's favor, was mostly just off the back of a simple Widowmine drop opening, and then a strong follow-up push with a lot of bio units, a lot of Widow Mines, spaced them out really well, and the micro was honestly as good as it could be.
I mean, he has played really well today, like some of those 3-Rex plays as well. And Ryung's path, like both of these players actually have taken on a lot of very good players. I think Ryung, so he dropped narrowly to Beyond, took out Creator in that lower bracket as well. And Creator was looking very fierce, then taking out Hero as well. So we talk about his TVP, taking out those kind of names, nice. Shouldn't be any other different level, right? I know he's crazy and all
plays a different race though.
Yeah, yeah, all paths lead to Zealots for him, but yeah, and here, starting off with a Robo. Like, that's one thing you can't say about Nice, that he's been super predictable, right?
Nope, he's not. You know it's going to be a little bit different than the very standard, oh, 2 gateways, a Twilight, a Robo, let's go up to 3 bases, or 1 safety Oracle into a bunch of Blink stocks to control the map. No, those are not really the strategies he goes for, but what he does actually go for, you just don't really know. That Robo, is it to get something quick out from a Robo Bay? He does have quite a bit of gas, and we haven't seen that of him yet today. Or is he going to make an Immortal and then a bunch of gateway units and just be aggressive? And there is your Immortal, 3 minutes and 22 seconds. Now that I think about it, those are actually the kind of builds that he used 2 years ago to knock out Clem of IEM Katowice as well.
I mean, bringing it back, I guess, bringing it back. But look at Ryung, by the way. I saw he got like a pretty early factory with this build, but then followed it up with, that's his 3rd barracks, right? And I did see quite a few of his 3-Racks openings against Creator to knock him out with like +1 as well, but this... Bless me, oh my goodness. Yeah, he actually knocked Creator out with some of these crazy 3-Rex plays, so this could definitely catch you off guard, and this is a great scout.
It's a great scout, but what I also love about builds like this, it reminds me a little bit of when Clem plays against some of those cheesy European Zergs, where it's like, yeah, I could open up with Hellions and a Viking and a Liberator, but why would I do that? When I know that you guys hit timings that are just slightly different, why don't I just go for a 2-1-1, or in this case, different matchup, why don't I just go for whatever build gives me a lot of firepower early on, so that if you want to kill me, you can't kill me early. You're gonna have to kill me later, you're gonna have to kill me with some high-tech units, and we know that Nice loves basic units. Well, 3-Rex gives you a lot of bio early on, should keep you pretty safe. I actually kind of like this opening by Ryung.
I really like it too, because I mean, if you know this person does nothing but attack you, doing a build where you have as many battle units out as early as possible, because I mean, all it takes is for Nice to make one wrong move, and Ryung sees this. I mean, he saw all the gateways morphing in, obviously.
Yeah,
but
this is really scary to be here, actually, with a Prism and an Immortal, because this is not an army that runs away quickly against him.
Absolutely not, absolutely not. And these Adepts, they're kind of on a clock, right? Because if you start fighting against full-fledged bio with Stim and +1 and stuff, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yep, I think we're just looking for some damage, but you gotta be so careful if you're Nice here. I mean, on one hand, you want to get rid of your Adepts and you just want to grab a couple of SCVs. On the other hand, you can't really throw them into the meat grinder either and get absolutely nothing done, because then you just open the doors for Ryung to move to your side of the map and straight up end the game.
Yeah, and in that respect, it's kind of nice to be here, to see everything. By being aggressive, you get to scout your opponent constantly. Oh no, oh no! That is not what you want, though. Not at all.
Nope, that's honestly a bit of a disaster. War Prism goes down, 2 adepts still inside of it. Immortal goes down too. And look at that. Nice is like, all right, I know that I can't spam Zealots. As much as I would love to build Zealots here, this man is simply going to have way too much firepower. What I need to do here is get Storm as quickly as possible. Not something we saw him in any of the other games. I would have absolutely loved it if we didn't just lose that Prism and the Immortal.
Oh, absolutely. I'm with you, because this actually lines up very nicely against the mass amount of bio that Ryung's inevitably going to have on the field. Third base to start up for Ryung. I also love the fact they went for a turret, thinking, hey, this wasn't really that big of a deal. Like, you could have easily spent your gas here, there, and everywhere. So definitely respecting his opponent as well.
Yeah, he's playing it ultra safe. I do think after such a big victory, like picking off a Prism, getting a Mortar as well, it wouldn't hurt to try your luck on the other side of the map. But it just seems that Ryung is very wary of how aggressive Nice likes to play. And he's like, nope, I'm just going to keep increasing my bio ball and I'll be fine. Storm, I think, is going to come as a little bit of a surprise. But if we have a bunch of tanks well spaced out, a couple of defensive Widow Mines, I also don't think as a Terran player we need to be in too much trouble against this.
No, and I mean, it does have +1 finish. I know that Nice has gone for Storm, but he's also gone for the +1 attack upgrade as opposed to the armor. So not entirely relying on the Storm to deal damage. Oh no, that's an Artosis pylon and a half. Not charge isn't finished either. That's actually going to be a bit annoying to clean up.
-4 gateways, but we do have a few High Templars, so maybe we could feed back. Oh, slow Zealots is so painful.
Yeah, and I mean, that is going to be really hard. Oh my goodness, warped in right there, and Ryung, nice target fire. Battery overcharge is a lifesaver, so that will fend this off for now to some degree, but that medevac, this just isn't the damage that Nice needs.
No, but he's out of range of the battery there too, so he ends up losing one of the 2 Stalkers, and look at the mini-map. This is not the only thing that Ryung is doing. He's like, hey, if I'm finding this much success with 8 Marines, how much can I find with the rest of my army? There are no medevacs there though, and I do believe we have a couple of High Templars out. I think they're in a Prism somewhere, right? Am I crazy? Yes.
They must be in a Prism. They have to be. And yeah, there they are, lurking around, kind of in the middle of the map. He's actually hunting for Ryung, knowing that that army's probably on the map. But Ryung, he's at the main base of Nice. But this is a good catch for the Protoss player, I do think.
Yeah, because this is not that invincible bio ball. Now you're going to shave off 6 or 7 Marines. I almost think that maybe Ryung indeed should just go for it on the other side of the map, because he will clean this up. But then also the surprise element of, hey, I've got quick, Storm is gone. So you may as well just kind of try to send it. And that's what, at least what he's doing with this initial set of Zealots. The only problem with Zealot Storm is that it's very bad in killing bunkers.
You know, against most players, you'd be like, taking out Cybercore is quite nice, right? I don't think Nice gives a damn about it.
He's like, won't even notice.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I can't make Stalkers? Well, I won't notice that until 20 minutes into the game kind of thing. But Blink is on the way, speaking of, and he is going to start remaking it immediately. Going up to more Immortals as well, higher upgrades, but wait, where's the rest of it? I was about to say that was going to be very ambitious. He's going for it anyhow.
No, he's got the main army as well coming in from the right side. War Prism is obviously going to come in from the left. Storms from the high ground. And a couple of bio units do get picked off. The 2 tanks fall. And if I'm Ryung, it'd be like, well, actually you have a little bit more than what I was anticipating. Love those Widow Mines. Nice has to absolutely hate Widow Mines, man, because they're very good against all the Zealots, and the War Prism goes down again. This time with more precious cargo, 3 additional High Templars still inside of it. That's the 2nd Prism going down, and I think Ryung is just walking away with this game. A few too many mistakes on the side of our Taiwanese Protoss.
That was definitely mistakes. Maybe a bit of nerves. Maybe we talk about that gas in the tank not being there. But Ryung, safe, solid, and calculated. That's the kind of Terran that you expect to see, actually, going up against a guy like Nice. And if that first game says anything about this series, I'm worried for Nice, man.
Yeah, I mean, build order-wise, this obviously was not ideal. When you open up with a Prism and a couple of Adepts, you do not want to run into a Terran that doesn't move out at all. Because if they do open up with, let's say, a little Widow Mine drop, sure, they might kill probes on your side of the map, but it also opens the door for you to find some SCV damage against the build that he was currently facing. He was never going to get anything done because everything was at home and there was a lot of firepower. That's not too bad. Until we lost the first War Prism, that's where that just kind of becomes, all right, now it's, I don't want to say impossible to play, but it just becomes incredibly uncomfortable.
And that match history does not lie. 16-3 in matches favoring Ryung against Nice. That's rough. Nice probably looked at his bracket and it was like, okay, this is a really hard bracket. Who did he take out in the first match? It was Hero, already an upset. Then he went up against Skillus. Maybe a bit of an upset too, given how good Skillus has been. 1 map away against Spirit. but now going up against a guy that you have a very, very, very unfavorable record against.
Yep, obviously Nice has played a lot of games on the Korean server, and I'm sure that Ryung has done the same. I think Ryung is very familiar with the way that Nice likes to play. That doesn't make it easy, but over time you are able to eliminate a couple of the things you'd normally worry about as a Terran. And that first game, when it comes to a stylistic clash on how would I tell any Terran in the world to play against somebody like Nice, yeah, that first game was kind of the blueprint where you just get a lot of bio units early on and you just chill, because he is going to attack you. You don't need to make it scrappy and crazy, because he's going to do that for you.
You're absolutely right, and I think his build order as well was as safe as it can possibly be. Like, kind of showing the factory, just to make a few little units here and there, but then going for the 3 racks. Obviously, it will have downsides, but...
It gives you a little bit of map presence. Like one Hellion, we saw that on Blackburn as well in the best of 5 with Spirit. One Hellion doesn't cost you a lot. It's 100 minerals, but it can give you that information as a Terran player that you're looking for, and then it makes your life a lot easier on your side of the map. And once in a blue moon, that one Hellion can actually kill 11 probes and can save the game for you.
Yeah, for me it's never happened before in my life, but with Spirit against Nice, when all he wants to do is attack you. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see what else Ryung brings to the table, because Nice is tricky, man. Like, we saw him whip out the Colossus drop build, which 3 racks is not what you want to do against that. We've seen him do a lot of the Phoenix builds, which 3 racks you'd like to do it against that. So I am curious what Nice is going to whip out next. He hasn't done any of this Blink Stalker stuff, and we saw Australia do that against Euthermal to much success.
I mean, most Protoss players love the Blink Stalkers, whether it's the 4-gate on 2 bases or just the 2 gateways going up to 3 bases early on. We'll see what 2000 Atmospheres has in store for us. In the top right side, we're looking at the main base over Taiwanese Protoss. He's down 0-1. Can he bring it back? This is Nice.
A long, long day for this gentleman. He doesn't want to go out now. Spawning over in the bottom left is our blue Terran. It is Ryung.
Great run, and I believe the winner of this series will end up in Group B, and that is the group that has a Serral, Dark, Showtime, Time, and Special.
Yeah, definitely not the hardest group out there by any means. Like, if anything, I'd say that's, I don't want to say one of the easiest groups.
It goes to show the level that we have at IEM Katowice when I tell you Serral, Dark, and you're like, yeah, pretty doable.
Pretty doable. I mean, that Group D, I can't believe, like, that was already looking like the group of death. Yeah. Then it's like, who moves into it? Beyond. I don't think any one of the players in that group was like, oh yeah, I got it so good. I think they're all like, oh goodness, could this get any worse for me?
And Group C just became even more fun, because Australia is such a fun Protoss. Said in the beginning of the day, I just love his games. They're often scrappy, they're action-packed. A little bit of like a Protoss equivalent of Bunny, where Bunny may be a bit crazier than Australia, but they just create fun, entertaining games. And Group C, I think, is already so fun on paper. Can't wait.
No, I mean, this tournament's really lining up to be a good one. We've already had some cracking series, some cracking maps today. Here, though, Ryung did scout out a little bit, so he gets to scout his opponent. I think Nice was playing in the dark entirely, right? No pro scout at all. If Gabe was watching this, he'd be like, so greedy by this Protoss player, I'm going to punish him.
Only when they actually go for an Oracle, Twilight, a Robo, and a Forge entry bases, though.
That's the greedy Protoss, eh?
Those are the real greedy Protosses. But Gabe punishes them every night, so...
You're ridiculous. All right. So
I'm a big fan. What can I say?
I mean, we're all big fans. Let's be real. Let's be real. Like, I know exactly what you're about. I've heard it time and time again. Okay, so a Marine opening for Ryung. This is absolutely something that's came into the limelight quite a bit in this matchup. Oh, look at that. So he plays blind without a scout, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to go for a shield battery in my main just to be safe against that possible Reaper. But we see here, that's not going to come into play whatsoever. I always feel like the Pro Scout's something you should be doing, just because it doesn't really cost you anything, whereas that shield battery, I mean, it can come in...
Yeah, but it's kind of like a 50-50, right? Like, if you do Probe Scout, it does cost you something, and he's like, all right, I'm going to save those minerals, just get the battery regardless. Even if they don't go for a Reapers, it can come in handy later on against a random Hellion, for instance, that drives into your main.
No, that's true, that's true. Look at this, by the way, by Ryung. Is this going to be pretty much the same kind of thing? It almost looks like a 2-1-1, except it's not. Like, it all lines up a bit funky, honestly, for him. I think Ryung's a really tricky Terran to go up against as well if you're a Protoss player, because he obviously showcased in the first game he's gone into this prepared. Like, he knows what kind of guy he's up against, and he's playing smart with it too.
Yep, I mean, this time around we're going to open up with the Cyclones. Cyclones, of course, great against Oracles with their lock-on ability. Doors are wide open in the natural, though. I like the trap there, potential trap with the Marines, but very good by Nice that he already went for the defensive shade in advance without knowing where the Marines were, because that allowed him to get away. Because Stalkers, they're fast. Adepts are a bit slower.
I got a small question for our obs. Did Ryung scout that Twilight earlier? Because he cancelled it, right? So I want to know. So Ryung scouted the Twilight that got cancelled. Now we have an Oracle on the way. And Ryung, I don't know what or how, but he's actually got a Cyclone out here. Which, honestly, these kind of plays, those are the things that you might skip if you see a Twilight. You might be like, okay, I need out those tanks quickly because it's probably going to be a Blink Stalker play. But Nice has probably seen this and he's like, how did you know I even cancelled that right in front of you? And it's going to work out for him, I think.
Yeah, but we still need to know that Oracles are out on the map, right? Like, having the Cyclone is great if it's actually in the right place. Taking a look where the Cyclone is chilling, the SCV is going to scout instead. First Oracle going straight into the main base. Surprising that Nice goes for extra gateways without a Twilight or a Robo, because slow gateway units are just terrible the moment Stim is done.
Absolutely. I mean, and also that pylon on the bottom. I think this is inevitably going to be one of those crazy games. Although this Nexus will drop, Ryung, like this, the way that he's been scouting and just kind of having units in places, even this Cyclone denied that Oracle damage in the main base. Very nice. Gets to see exactly when the Nexus is dropped. I'm liking Ryung's play a lot. And look at that, Kevin. Look at all those upgrades he's got lined up. That's going to be really scary a few minutes down the line.
Yep, he's going to hit a pretty hard timing the moment Combat Shield is done, +1 is done, and he's going to have a lot of Marines because of all those barracks he produced early on. And I feel that's the moment where Nice may have charge, and he may be able to have like +1 attack, but those Zealots could very well melt. For Nice, it's always about, I think, making games scrappy and just getting trades. If you make all these units, Oracles and Adepts, you want to find economic damage, but you also want to reduce those Marine numbers a little bit, because if you don't, the first move out just becomes too much to deal with, unless you've got Colossus or Storm or anything. These Adepts are just going to get sacrificed, and this is not working out at all so far for Nice. Gotta feel like maybe this day has been a bit too long for him, and mentally it's gotta be so freaking tough, man. After you got so close, it's not that he was one map away from qualifying. It felt he was one fight away multiple times, one Nova, one good swipe of a few Colossus, and then yeah, completely reset yourself. Do it all over again. It is very tough, especially against a Terran that perhaps knows you very well, because Ryung is playing about as good as you could be playing against Nice at the moment.
It's real clean, right? Like, you watch this and it's like, it's exactly how I think somebody should go up against Nice. You said it earlier, but it's not the end of the day just yet. I like that Ryung's kind of got a little squad together. It's a very fierce squad as well. And we saw how greedy Nice was. How many units does he actually have out on the map? Because before, against this kind of stuff, I mean, that is not the army you want. Like 5 sentries, they're going to tickle this army, and they're not going to do it to death either.
Well, at least we're going to wipe in a couple of Stalkers, which I guess is better than Zealots here, because 5 or 6 Zealots, even if they had charge, that just wouldn't make the difference. We're even going for a Desperation Void Ray at this point, because Nice knows that he just needs some firepower. Dropping a Revelation on the army at least keeps the Terran forces at bay for now. Any second that goes by is a good one for a Taiwanese Protoss, because he is up 18 workers, and those gateways are finishing up, Blink is finishing up, +1 is finishing up. If you take a good fight near battery overcharge, man, everything is fine.
Yeah, if you pull a Nurture and you stick around for it, you know, but whenever you're forced to make Void Rays in this kind of situation, I know there's certain situations where it's like a Void Ray on the side of the map kind of thing to stop a medevac or two can be pleasant for sure, but this, like, Ryung's actually quite ahead in that army supply, and if he takes a fight, so Nice's job right now, what does he want to do? He wants to make Ryung feel like he can't take a fight.
You know what a lot of Protoss players have been doing in the main base, where it's like battery kind of near the edge, or excuse me, a cannon near the edge, basically where the Stalkers are standing right now, and then the battery a little bit above it. I think it's actually quite lovely defense, because it's there and then you have to choose, do you go for the battery, do you go for the cannon? Whatever option you go for, it's going to take a little while and allows Protoss gateway units to get in position. With that Robo Bay finishing up, I think we're going to fire up a Colossus immediately. It feels like a Disruptor would be a little bit too unreliable at this point. This is kind of that scary moment, right? Where if Nice can just hang in there with the sentries a little bit longer, eventually his superior economy should come into play.
Nice is so brave, man. Like, just standing here with 5 sentries, that stasis could have been a lot worse for Ryung, actually. And this fight, nice pickup as well. Nice is buying himself quite good time with what he's doing, but he needs quite a bit of it.
Yeah, I'd love to see extended thermal lens being fired up as well, even though we are under a lot of pressure. But Colossus without thermal lens is not that good. Slow Zealots trying to walk forward. Widow Mines getting good shots off on the Stalkers, actually. That's the last thing you expect. And most of these Zealots, I mean, Ryung is doing a phenomenal job and just dancing around these force fields. The sentries are out of energy now. Where is that Colossus? It needs to be here yesterday, and it's just a little bit too late.
Oh no, what a disaster. The Colossus walks head first into that army. The Void Ray comes in from the right side as well, but it can't do anything either. The Stalkers, they're not going to win that fight at all. That Robo is very exposed as well. In the blink of an eye, this game just fell out of Nice's hands.
Yeah, but Ryung did a phenomenal job dancing around the force fields, still buying time. Even if a couple of units got stuck in that stasis trap, he's like, it's all right, they're safe. I'm not going to lose anything else. Nice is doing a decent job here with the Blink Stalkers on the left side. Even suicides the Oracles, trying to get a little bit of friendly fire on those bio units, but he lost the Robo, which means we don't get an extra Colossus out. And even if we push this army back, we have a lot of money in the bank, by the way, on the side of Nice, but yeah, maybe we go double Robo here, but Ryung is never going to give you the time to actually enjoy the double Robo life.
No, I mean, like that Robo, you might be like, why did he make it there? Why? Well, it's quicker to reinforce if you make a Robo there, but also, if you're under pressure, which Nice never wants to be, it's also very exposed. Oh, going for that +1 air weapons already as well with the Fleet Beacon. I mean, that's a little bit desperate.
Yeah, desperate times call for desperate measures. I don't really hate it. Like, warping in a couple of Zealots is not going to make the difference. The army of the Terran player is simply too big and too powerful for that. It takes too long to only rely on the Colossus. So why not try to go for the Hail Mary play, drop a Fleet Beacon, get +1 air weapons, and maybe you can do what Skillers did early today, and that is turtle your way all the way up to a bunch of carriers and eventually win a game.
Definitely, definitely. This army is very Marauder heavy, so that Void Ray actually can maybe come in a little bit more handy than I initially thought, but yeah, Nice is holding on. Like, what's the resources lost tab at this point? It's got to be pretty darn favorable.
I love how you're asking for this, but I know that you just want to see the little numbers in the top left side, because now you're like, oh, I think he lost a little bit more. I'll let you know, Ben. He lost around 1,700 more.
Thank you, Kev. Thank you. My old bald brain cannot handle it. He went for carriers so fast, man. Like, I know he was going for the upgrade and stuff, but going for the carrier straight away. And yeah, at this point, the supplies, they don't actually look that bad.
No. I mean, he did have a big economic advantage, obviously, for a while, and it's a bunch of Zealots counterattacking. I do like Ryung's army still quite a bit more. We have a Disruptor in the mix. Can it land a good Nova?
Oy.
Actually, that's not bad at all. And at the same time, these Zealots are going to get on top of these SCVs. There is life in the old dock yet, because Nice is actually finding his best moment so far in this entire best of 5. Did seem like we had a couple of big EMPs. We want to be very careful with that Colossus. That is one unit that we absolutely don't want to lose. But look at them Zealots go.
I mean, he loves his Zealots, man. And this game, he's been rather tame with making the Zealots, but the few that he did make, wow, they came in handy. And now, getting Disruptors on the field, along with the carriers, going for more Stargates as well. All of a sudden, Nice is more than back in this one.
Didn't Ryung already have a very long game against the Protoss with a bunch of carriers? We were watching it on the desk, or am I hallucinating now?
I think it was against Creator.
Yeah, game 2, right?
Yeah, and he played really well. He went up to like 30, 40 Vikings and was playing the very defensive style, but he just did it super well. I know Harsson was very impressed.
Yeah, that's correct. He did end up losing it, though. Carriers are good.
Carriers
he played really well, guys.
We've seen a few games today, actually, where it's been the carriers come in handy. We're like, oh, the Terrans playing so well. Then they lose, and I'm like, oh.
Eventually, it just turns out there were a few too many interceptors.
I'm like, I know I've been making elephants for a while, but some things just don't change.
We are going to pick up this pile. An amazing job, though, by Nice to be able to hang in a game like this, because it felt like a bit of a disaster at one point, especially once that first Colossus popped and got picked off immediately.
I thought the game was over.
Yeah.
I really did. I was ready to be like, okay, Ryung's 2-0, but...
Suicided the Oracles, did a bit of friendly fire on the Terran army, and he had a battery overcharge. So then when Stalkers fight against Marauders, it's not that bad, because every defensive blink gives you full shields again immediately. It allowed him to stabilize, and it felt like the +1 air weapons and the Fleet Beacon, it was a little much, but he had that money, so you may as well try. And now suddenly, well, that try is actually becoming a pretty realistic dream. We're looking at multiple carriers on the map.
Yeah, Ryung's done a good job to re-establish that supply lead, and he is making quite a few Vikings. I don't know how many on the map is so far, but a nice little fleet here. But soon that carrier count is just going to escalate like crazy. 3 Stargates producing. And our observer just showed us, I don't think he has any idea about the number of Stargates he's going to be facing.
No, I mean, this is also not the kind of game where if I was Ryung, I'd be like, yeah, it's very likely that this guy has a bunch of carriers. But you throw it on a scan and you're like, whoa, okay, I thought this was going well. Well, it was. No, you're just really going to have to work for it. We do have a recall here. I like the MPs on the batteries too. Makes it a bit easier. I don't know how many units got recalled there in the end. There's only one disrupt that gets picked up immediately. Not even battery overcharge was able to save it. Perhaps just a little bit too late. Well done there by Ryung.
Yeah, if he planned on pressuring that really hard, I might have even preferred an EMP on the Nexus itself, so you can't recall to it, you know? You can still shield battery overcharge, obviously, but then maybe more damage can be done. But Ryung's trading very nicely on both sides.
But he does need to maybe get rid of a couple of these Marauders, right? Like, Marauders are fantastic to get on top of Disruptors and maybe pick them off, or get on top of that last Colossus, and then Marines come into play. But we've seen too many games where Terran players just have a lot of SCVs, they've got a lot of Medevacs, they've got a bunch of Ghosts and Marauders, but then they just never kill the carriers.
No, you're totally right. These Stalkers do blink in. A few Ghosts, very exposed. Big balls flying in here. There are some Widow Mines planted, but they aren't surviving for long, and this carrier count ever growing. I'm starting to get really worried for Ryung, man.
Ah, no, I'm starting to get very happy for Nice, especially after that heartbreaking best of 5 that he had earlier. First game, a bit of a disaster. Second game did not start off all that well. Sure, we had a lot of probes, but at one point... What? Is that a Nexus? Offensive battery overcharge? How crazy is this man?
He's super crazy, dude. You scan this, do you start thinking it's a BM one, or I mean, that would tilt me a little bit, but I think it's actually a good move. And Nice, he's going in, the balls fly. I don't know how many disruptor shots he still has available, but Ryung just doesn't have enough anti-air, it feels like. But these Vikings starting to get some nice juicy shots, but all the interceptors are already out here, Kev.
Yep, and there's still a lot of interceptors left. The Viking numbers are dwindling, and this man is about to run back towards his battery overcharge. I mean, Ryung is scanning. Is that thing still there? Yeah, it's still there. I mean, this is something they've been joking about for a long time on the Battle.net forums and Reddit. It's coming into reality. Okay, cancel the Nexus. Just takes a little while, Ben.
Just takes a little while. I mean, you put the fear of God into you, you know, with that Nexus appearing right there. A few carriers do fall. And all things said and done, Ryung does stay alive, but that SV count, you look at it and it's like, wow, he's been in a war or two.
I like how Nice is doing this as well. Well, he really doesn't even have any money in the bank. Wasn't even maxed out. It's not like he's got all the upgrades. He's like, this is it. We're going for the offensive battery overcharge, baby. It's going to make the difference. And to be fair, it's very hard for Vikings to kill a carrier if there ever would be a battery overcharge there.
Yeah, you really do need to one-shot it then. And then it's a number of, like, you know, 25 or so Vikings. Nice's army is just going to keep on getting more complex. And that upgrade count on that air weapons, like +3 along the way. Going to get another Warp Prism, Dark Shrine on the way, Storm as well. He's just turning into the absolute nightmare that all Terrans have.
We do have to mention the +2 ship weapons for Ryung that is finishing up. A very important upgrade. If a Ghost lands an EMP on a Stalker and you have +2 on the Liberators, you can one-shot Stalkers. And then it actually becomes very difficult for Protoss to ever even consider blinking into those Liberation zones. And again, I don't think Nice is thinking about blinking into anything. He's like, let's get the Interceptors out.
I think so. I mean, there are quite a number of Stalkers here, but the ground army, that's not what we're scared of if you're the Terran, right?
And we don't have advanced ballistics, right? It's just +2 ship weapons.
He must have it. He must have
it.
No, he doesn't have it. He's had a fusion core for a while, though, no? I think he's had a fusion core for a while, Kev.
Yep, he has a fusion core, but he does not.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh, Ryung, you know, we're on the same level, Kev. Same level as Ryung.
Sure, Ben.
Hey, a man can dream.
No.
No, he can't dream. You're denying me of my dreams now?
You're too old to dream. It's time to accept reality, mate.
You're ridiculous. Alrighty, alrighty. Zealot's doing a little bit of damage here. Nice doing what he does best, though, just expanding. And for once today, he's actually sitting back a little bit, but I don't hate it for him.
I love how Nice seems to be able to just flip the switch, right? Like at one moment he can only attack, and then suddenly he's like, you know what, polar opposite, I'm going to go for carriers, I'm going to go for disruptors, I have a couple of High Templars, I believe in the Warp Prism as well. And Ryung is running, but these carriers have gone completely uncontested. So the Warp Prism goes down, and the disruptors run forward. Oh, that was a super winnable fight for Nice. And he might still win it if he just lands 1 or 2 Novas, but losing that Warp Prism with the High Templars inside of it was a very, very costly mistake.
He lost all the interceptors as well immediately, running on top of the Marines and the Liberators, just taking them out one by one. And now, this is a real scrap. Like, those carriers, they look way scarier than they actually are right now.
You should actually send them back, man, because they're pretty low on HP as well. They've got no shields, and now all you have is a couple of Zealots. These Zealots only have +1 armor. The Bio on the ground has +3, and Nice is forced to tap out. Oh no, if we can take another look at the final moments in that game later on, you'll see that basically everything went wrong there. He had Storm, he had a Warp Prism full of High Templars, that Prism got picked off, and then the Disruptors just went way too far forward. So all of those got picked off as well.
I'll be honest as well, these Disruptor shots, they got no connections whatsoever. And I think Ryung was splitting really well out of them, but also some of these Disruptor shots didn't seem to go for the real juicy hearts of the pack there. But yeah, crazy, because 30 seconds before that fight, I was like, Ryung's in serious trouble.
Yeah, but Nice, I think, chasing a little bit too hard there towards the end. I don't think it was really necessary. Like, let the carrier count go up a little bit. We did mention Stalkers are not that useful anymore because the Liberators have +2 ship weapons and there are plenty of ghosts out on the field. Yeah, it really all comes down to losing that Warp Prism with very precious cargo, because that fight looks very different if we get 5 or 6 storms out of it.
No, definitely, definitely. I mean, that army, what does it do against, when you've got that many carriers with interceptors, the amount of ground units, and then you got the High Templars just forcing you to split even further and killing everything. Very rough day for Nice.
I mean, he can be proud no matter what happens in this best of 5, and of course this man wants to make it into the group stage, but I don't think too many people really predicted Nice to be in the qualifying match of the upper bracket and make it as close as he did as well. He played great StarCraft. It's just in this best of 5, it kind of seems like the wheels are coming off a little.
That's where I wanted to go with that, because, you know, I saw the start of the bracket and I was like, okay, it's going to be Hero in the second round, right? The winner bracket. And it was like, no. Nice flipped the whole side of the bracket on its head. Then beating Skillis as well, because, I mean, that was a real hard game as well for him. But, man, it's just not going his way. And it could have been 1-1 right here. Really could. And it should have, probably.
The fact that he turned this into a competitive game, though, and actually got up to all those carriers and disruptors seems impressive. Because you and I both thought the game was just over the moment that Colossus popped out of the Robo, ran into the Marauders, died. You lose the Robo. It's like, well, now all you've got is a couple of Blink Stalkers and an Oracle or 2 left. And he still turned it into something. And then at one point, we started becoming dreamers. We even went for the offensive Nexus, trying to overcharge on the other side of the map. Maybe we were getting a little bit too carried away there, but the idea was there.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't dreaming. I'm too old, you know. I was still like in... No, I was dreaming as well.
Is this really getting to you, Ben?
Oh, I mean,
if
you know.
This is getting to you, why don't you try splitting some Marines again instead of building an elephant?
I mean, you know, Kevin, of the pro gamers here, you know when I asked Bunny how old he thought I was? He was like, you know, he's 32. What did he say about you, Kev?
I'm getting absolutely brutalized this weekend. First, the talent manager thinks I'm you know the funny thing about this dude as well? He's like, I love making videos with you, man. You're always so fluent in it, and it's very quick recording. I was like, awesome. He's like, yeah, thanks, Todd. I was like, what? What a compliment, man, for Todd as well.
Because earlier, when you walked away, he called you Todd as well. But I know that you didn't quite, like, you know, mistakes happen, but they called you Todd again.
But I was like, you know what? I do love you and Mello. I can get over this. And then I'm listening to Clem and Rainer, and they're asking Bunny how old they think I am, and Bunny's like, maybe 40? And I was like, what? Bunny, I love you. How can you do me dirty?
He's your bro, too.
I know.
Like, you picked him on your team and he calls you 40.
He's like, how old? I was like, 34. He's like, oh, sorry.
Oh,
it's all good.
That's terrible. All right. Blackburn. Spawning over in the bottom right. As our red Proteus over here, it is nice. It's kind of like one of the talent managers coming over to me and calling me euthermal a few times. It's like, no, I'm bold, but let's not go there.
In the bottom left side of Blackburn, we're looking at the main base of our Korean Terran, playing one hell of an open bracket so far, one map away from making it into the round of 24 at the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2022. This is Ryung representing Team GP.
Really solid by Ryung today. Really solid. I know he has been really good in the past, but the way that he's been playing, it's just smart. Smart, clean. Even though he got kind of behind in some stages in that game, I don't think it was because he was playing bad by any means. I think Nice was just playing really good and he was making all the right calls to get back into it. You still thinking about the bunny thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. I'd be thinking about that for quite a few months. It's like, okay, got to go get the Rocky theme tune, get him back into shape and stuff.
Damn bunny. We'll see, Bunny, how Group C goes. Okay. No, I will always cheer for Bunny. He's too cool. Alrighty. Ryung building his first barracks outside of the main base and following up with a quick factory. So we're playing this very safe. Maybe a bit worried about Void Rays because Nice is obviously a man that is no stranger to going for a one-base Void Ray all-in.
No, but we haven't seen that from him this tournament, right? Like, he's been playing fairly legit when it comes to Nice standards, but...
He's playing extreme, though.
Oh, mate, yeah. When he picks a side and he goes with it all the freaking way. It is a very polarizing playstyle. But yeah, this game he didn't scout. So that fake proxy from Ryung doesn't really pay off because he was hoping that he kind of made his opponent panic, but...
Doesn't know about the bunker yet, though.
No, not at all. That's one thing that's kind of, I want to say, a little bit weak about the no pro scout. And no pylon on the low ground either. So don't get to see that SV leave or even turn up.
Second kill already for this Reaper. Adept is going to chase it, and Nice is going to receive the bad news that there's a bunker. You kind of need a pylon. You need to be able to get a battery up. Sometimes the Terran players get a bit sloppy and they actually spend too much time outside of the bunker. You can get lucky and get a Reaper kill. But with the way that Ryung has been playing today, don't really see that happening. Do you think he might just open up with a Void Ray and try to deal with this bunker with a Void Ray, or otherwise it's going to take forever?
I think he might. Like, the fact that he went for the sentry early means he can scout with a hallucination, right? So in that regard, he doesn't need a fast Oracle out on the other side of the map or anything like that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, these Cyclones are also going to be coming out very quickly for defensive purposes, it looks like.
Like, it almost feels that if you just build an Oracle here, that's like too much wishful thinking. Right? It's like, yeah, just because he built a bunker on my side of the map, is there really a chance that the Oracle finds a lot of damage? I don't think I hate the Phoenix, because maybe he's expecting the Cyclone, and perhaps he can catch Ryung if Ryung goes a little bit too adventurous. We're even hallucinating an Oracle, so this is a fake scout, and I think he'll be happy to see that he didn't actually go for an Oracle, because he wouldn't get much done.
He cancelled the... Did he just cancel the Phoenix, actually?
I think Phoenix is built quick, no?
Okay, he got one of them, then into a Void Ray. Definitely a little unusual.
Yep. I kind of thought if he wanted to go for a Void Ray, then he would have gone for a Void Ray immediately just to clean up the bunker, but then he still got the pilot on the low ground. There is that Void Ray build, though, that I feel like we've seen maybe 3 or 4 times in competitive StarCraft on Blackburn. I've never seen it work, but people like it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Zest do a few things a few times and didn't really play out, but it's kind of it's a rough position, right? Like, you go for that scout, you're making the Phoenix because you think it might be a Widowmine drop follow-up or something like that. And then you see it's 3 barracks and it's like, well, I can't keep on making Phoenix, but no bunker done yet. This could get a little bit spicy, a little bit leery. The problem is reinforcements won't come in very quickly, so this is what Nice has to work with.
Yep, I mean, that one Void Ray should be almost out, and we can show up perhaps right before that bunker is done. It's just quite a few Marines, a little too much firepower perhaps. And Nice is just going to build his second Void Ray, now the third Void Ray. Yeah, we saw Zest do this once on Blackburn. It didn't go very well. I think I saw Jumi try it too in one of the weeklies, and that one also did not go. Yeah, it was against Gabe, actually. Gabe was streaming. I will keep it to myself what Gabe said about the build.
We can all imagine and predict, and maybe fairly well too. Oh, super aggro.
Yeah, it's just Void Ray, Gateway, all in. But this is not with a Twilight Council, not with a Forge. These Zealots won't have charge, so this is a very unusual timing, and honestly to me this always feels like a real Heart of the Swarm, Wings of Liberty kind of build, where it's like we open up with like 1 or 2 tech units and then we gateway all in and we hope it works.
Yeah, but this is the one thing you really don't want to go up against, right? Like, super upgraded bio with +1. Like, I think he's just going to hope to use the ramp to his advantage in some way, and maybe we'll see quite a few sentries warped in, but he has no gas whatsoever. And
maybe, yeah, either we wait and we hope that Ryung moves out, but then obviously you take the risk that the Bioball just becomes way too big. But running into this, I think using the Phoenix to pull a couple of units out of position is a start. A few force fields go down, prismatic alignment, but the SCVs can still repair this bunker. And repair is one hell of a drug. The bunker stays alive, and Nice is in all sorts of trouble.
You know, GG Ryung, well played.